Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. This is definitely going to be a quick one. Wife got me running to the store to grab some stuff to eat tonight. Um, just some boxing, just an observation on some fakery with Christopher Carlson, and just looking at the landscape, man, I don't see a black fighter, an American black fighter, with a single opportunity right now for a meaningful fight. And I don't know who to point the finger at. I'm not trying to say that I have all of the answers. Some stuff that's going on with the PBC, I don't know how stable they are as a company, how stable the relationship is with Fox. I don't know some of this stuff, but I'm just looking around and I look at a lot of these black fighters that are out there. It's really, what is the plan for any of these cats? And it's messing with my interest in the sport right now. So I started this video to say I'm looking at this shit with Tyson Fury and Billy Joe Saunders, and they had the opportunity to fight in mega matches. They have spots, coveted spots. What's good, Valentine? What do you mean, bro? I'm getting there. Billy Joe Saunders has an opportunity to fight Canelo Alvarez. You can fill in the blanks of whatever he's gonna get paid. It's a meaningful fight. And it's probably gonna represent his best payday times two. Tyson Fury, opportunity to fight in a mega fight against Anthony Joshua, potentially. And for these dudes to come out here and say the shit that they're saying right now, Tyson Fury talking about, I'm not training right now. I'm enjoying whiskey. His Instagram post or whatever it was, that he's sitting there with some single malt whiskey with Glenfiddich, and he might be playing mind games. He could be playing mind games. That's the type of stuff that he's on often. But Billy Joe Saunders calls into the radio show a couple weeks ago and said that he hasn't even started training for this match against Canelo. And I'm just like, again, these are pretty high profile fights for both of these guys. And it's like, before we even get into the fights, they're sowing seeds in case they lose or whatever. Just like, it's some bullshit to us as boxing fans that want the sport to really be looked at as a big deal. And so I don't know what's going on with either one of those cats, but the shit is just disrespectful to the game, man. It's a lot of fighters out here that would love those opportunities. Jamal Charlo would love the opportunity to fight Canelo. It's probably another handful. Anybody would love the opportunity to fight Canelo. And to come out here and say that you haven't started camp yet. You just fought. You just fought Martin Murray. Like, how bad out of shape could you be? He said in the interview that he got sick. He's dealing with some illness or something. And but we already knew it was a short turnaround from Canelo's fight against Yildirim. It was only an 8 or 10 week window to begin with. And here you are at the outset of this talking about, I don't know when I'm gonna get to camp. So I just, like I said, man, they can respect the game. They can respect these opportunities. Everybody can't get these calls. Everybody can't get these dates. Everybody can't get these the opportunity to make these mega paydays. And I think it's some bullshit. And as far as and Tyson Fury, I mean, that whole situation coming out of the mediation and the arbitration stuff with Wilder, his fight not happening in early December, all of the controversy stemming from the rematch with Wilder. It's just a shit show around that dude, completely. And you know, and then every week we get an update. That's what I think, Valentine. It just sounds like it just, but and that's such a key, you know, a key fight. Like I said, it's a ton of dudes who would respect that opportunity and do well to have a fight against Canelo. And then you sit up here on this, and again, it could be mind games. You know, we know that he does his little bullshit in social media, the crackhead thing. His son is doing disrespectful shit. I don't know, but I just think right now, you know, being that these guys do have these meaningful fights, these big dates, they didn't have to go through a whole lot of negotiating and bullshit and drawn out, you know, XYZ to get these fights. You know, if you can get them, make them, and then and be a professional. And we know it was, you know, like I said, Canelo doesn't want a fighter to come in ready to, exactly. So that's what I'm just saying, man. I just jumped on here. To me, it's just disrespectful to the game, man. And it's a lot of us, it's a lot of boxing fans across the world, I think, that, you know, you got to talk, you almost got to talk yourself into caring about this shit in a way. We saw the situation last night with Chocolatito, you know, goes out here and fights his heart out. This man coming back from the bottom and gets out here and comes and fights his ass off and gets a 117, 111 card or whatever it was. I thought he edged the fight out or just won it. And, you know, that's I don't even know. I can't even put a word on what that is, man. I mean, it's a bad look for the game. And like I said, man, boxing fans, we got to spend so much time defending this sport and explaining this shit. And well, you know, they'll get it right next time, or, you know, but you can look at it like this. It's just always some trash around this sport, man. So that's all I really wanted to hop on and say. Tyson Fury, you know, to come back out and say something about, you know, maybe I should have just fought Wilder, or let me look into the trilogy fight with Wilder. After all this shit that we've been through over the last year, some of us that are just kind of neutral and we've been innocent bystanders in this shit. Again, man, just shut the hell up. And you know, we just don't need that type of bullshit in the sport, man. Like I said, it's hard for us week to week to get meaningful fights. Then when we get meaningful fights, some of these dudes can't even be professionals and make the weight. Then we got to worry about the judges doing their job, and it's always something. So you know, some of this could be taken with a grain of salt. Again, like Valentine just said, you know, BJ Saunders could just be selling some wolf tickets or whatever, or just throwing some distractions out there, you know, that would probably play into, like Valentine just said, that would play into Canelo's hand, thinking that he has a fighter coming in that's off his game and whatnot. But again, man, some of the negative press, the negative talk around boxing, man, it just seems like we could do a little bit better. So anyway, let me jump on off of here. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the fights last night. Again, that Chocolatito and Estrada, you know, hell of a fight. You know, this one judge, I didn't get it. And I've said this before with that situation. I think I've suggested it before. I think from time to time during the fights, I think they need to put some graphics on the screen to let us know where some of these judges sit. You know, they can have an arrow pointing down to the judge throughout the fight here and there, and just have, you know, up above what judge is sitting where, just so you can get somewhat of an idea of what that judge's vantage point might be over the course of the fight. And not saying that it justifies anything or gives us a chance to understand things a little bit better. But I would just like to know where some of these guys sit relative to where some of the action is taking place in the ring. I don't know if you watched the Showtime fight, the Showtime card last night, but one or two of those judges was getting up and moving over to the corner when the action went to the far corner away from him and the referee was standing in his way. That judge was getting up out of his seat. Now there's nobody in the building. You have the freedom to do that. You can move around right now. But if that's a regular fight and you got all the VIP people sitting in there, you can't always get up and move to see, you know, to get a better line of sight. So I noticed that last night that judge was getting up off of his stool and actually moving over to the corner so he could see what was going on in that corner that the referee was impeding his vision. So I don't know, man. That's just one of my suggestions. It would be good to, because I heard that that judge might be sucre or something, that he might be suspended. And then they take these guys in there and they ask them to tell what they saw, what they were watching. They never go back and change these decisions. You know, that decision is generally final. And so, again, I think this dude screwed up a great fight. And obviously he had an outlier that he turned in with the other two cats having it 115, 113 for either man. And then you come in with your card that's completely out of line with all of that. And then what he gave, he either gave Estrada the first 5 in the last 3 or the first 3 in the last 5. Like, it was no way in the world that you could have arrived at that conclusion on those, you know, on those rounds. So again, man, boxing got to clean this stuff up. You know, this shit is important. And, you know, it's just unfortunate. But anyway, man, that's my rant. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the couple of likes that was up there. Let me run in here into this grocery store real quick. Definitely want to see what we got next week with, or I'm definitely interested in next week's fights with Virgil Ortiz and Maurice Hooker. I don't even really know who all is on that card except for Sinisa Estrada. The women's bout that's on there. So yeah, I got to look into that. But anyway, man, I thought it was a good weekend of action. Hell of a fight. Oh, salute to Dennis Dolan. You know, I was a little skeptical about what he was going to bring to the table against young Ammo, Austin Williams last night. And based on the last fight that I saw with Dolan against Mike Guy, I was like, you know, Mike Guy is not a very talented fighter, and he got a decision against Dolan. So I was wondering, you know, which Dolan would show up. And while he didn't, you know, he came up short, but I think he put in a good effort. I think he put in enough of an effort to where he can walk away from the game with his head held high. If the fight against Mike Guy would have been the last fight of his career, the effort that he gave in that fight against a guy that he was more talented than, I think that would have been unfortunate for him. So I think he came back late replacement, and you know, he got rocked several times, but he finished the fight, you know, and it just kind of shows what his skill level is, where he is at this stage in his career. But I think he you know, he tested the young man's chin a couple of times. You know, he wrestled with him a little bit, tried to get in his head a little bit, you know. But he served his purpose in it being a step-up fight for Austin Williams. We got a better idea, you know, of where the kid is in his development. I know I didn't come on earlier and do the recap. I was tired this morning with that time change, daylight savings time. Ray Ford against the Aaron Perez kid. I think Ray Ford fought in November and December. And, you know, I think he knocked both of those guys out, thought he was on a bit of a roll. And I don't know why he wasn't able to make that fight a little more easier for himself as far as just using his jab in a more meaningful way, in a way to control the fight or set up his power shots. He kind of looked to counter against a dude who was awkward and kind of messy. And he was pulling back, trying to maybe line up the counter shots or the check right hook at times, and just let a dude outwork him and kind of bully him around a little bit, and just could never get into a groove, except for maybe for a bit in the 7th round. He hurt him with the right hook to the body in like the 3rd or 4th round, and really got a big reaction out of Perez, and never really got into his body work. I liked how his chief second. I liked what he was trying to tell him, how he was trying to get him to regroup and get him to focus, but he seemed to not be able to execute. So some of these youngsters, man, they up and down. You go in there against another dude who's undefeated, who's aggressive, and like I said, a bit messy. I said this on another podcast earlier this week. It's almost like say you like a all league basketball cat in your city, and you in the summer just playing some pickup basketball, a game of 21. You going into your varsity, your senior year, and your future is all in front of you, and you get to the park, and it's some 9th grader or some 10th grader that's out there that really doesn't have a good game about him, and he looks at you as an opportunity to just, this dude ain't shit, let me check him up, and you getting fouled and roughed up and whatnot. You might make it up in your mind that, look, I ain't driving to the hole today, I'm just gonna shoot J's, and I'm just gonna get out here and just stay loose. But I can't risk what I gotta risk for this dude, because I can hurt myself. I could tear my ankle up, my knee, and miss some, and mess up my senior year. So I just felt like he just got into a situation where a guy was hungry, he was aggressive, and the dude fought his heart out. The dude could have laid down in the 8th round, Perez, and Perez came out there after fighting tired, for 2 or 3 rounds in a row. He came out there and dug deep and mixed it up some more. So I can't take nothing away from his effort. It just seemed to be an off night for Raymond Ford. But, take some downtime. Who knows how much Ford's been sparring. Like I said, I know he was in camp with Teofimo Lopez. Maybe he got, maybe he's just been, training too much. Maybe he's been in the gym a little too much, trying to rush things. And boxing, you really can't cut corners, and you really can't take those giant strides. And all of these guys are talking about wanting to be in title fights next year. Or I want to fight an eliminator next year. It's really not that easy. And so I think some of these guys, from time to time, you just run into a guy who shows you that you can't cut corners. So anyway, man, let me get on off of here. Peace. Enjoy the rest of this Sunday evening. I'm out.